There's a version of you that knows exactly what to do in a crisis. You stay composed, you keep moving forward. You do not fall apart. You're the one that people count on at work, at home, and in your family. You give what's needed even when you're running on empty. And most of the time, no one sees what it actually costs you because you look capable, composed, and strong. But inside, you're tight, tense, and completely on edge. You're always scanning for the next thing you need to manage, while feeling like you could snap or collapse at any second. This isn't just exhaustion, it's burnout, hidden inside the identity of always being the strong and responsible one. And if that's where you find yourself, this video is definitely for you. Today we're going to talk about how this pattern formed, why your nervous system is stuck in high alert, and what it's going to actually take to be able to soften without falling apart. This isn't about coping better. It's about finally feeling safe enough that you don't have to hold it all together, all alone anymore. So next, let's take a look at this familiar pattern. Because being the strong one didn't actually start in adulthood. It started when you were very young. You learned to read the room, to stay helpful, responsible, and composed, even when everything felt shaky inside. You weren't allowed to fall apart, so you stayed alert. You stayed useful. And this wasn't because you didn't have needs. It was because being the responsible one, the strong one, was the only way your needs ever had a chance of being met. You became the helper, the fixer, the one who held it all together. Not because you chose to, but because your nervous system adapted to survive. And now, you're still that person. You still carry the invisible mental and emotional load. But your body is bracing all day, all the time. And this isn't just personality. It's a survival pattern that once protected you. So you're still showing up, handling everything, and anticipating everyone else's needs. But inside, it's getting harder to ignore what it's actually costing you. You're more irritable, exhausted, even small things feel loud. And the tension in your body isn't actually going away, even when you're trying to rest. And this is what it looks like when your body never feels safe enough to come off high alert. You might still be getting everything done, managing your work, your family, your home, but it feels heavier than it used to. And your body knows. It's bracing before the day even begins and collapsing the moment you're alone. You feel wired and then wiped out. And that's the cost of carrying everything for so long. Because even when you're functioning, you're disconnected from yourself, from your body, from joy, from rest. Most of the time you feel flat or numb. And you might even start wondering, why do I feel so tired all the time? Why am I snapping over small things? Why is nothing helping anymore? But this isn't because you're doing something wrong. Your body was never meant to carry this much for this long, especially all alone without support. You learned how to survive, but living in this type of survival mode is no longer working. Your hypervigilance is not a flaw, and irritation is not a failure, and your exhaustion is not actually a mystery. It's your body waving the white flag, saying, I've been tracking too much for too long with too little support. Because when you've been on high alert since childhood, your nervous system does not feel safe to turn off, even when everything is handled. So you stay on all day, every day. That bracing in your shoulders, that tightness in your jaw, that constant background tension that lingers, even when you're trying to slow down and rest. That's not just stress. That's overstimulation and nervous system overload. It's the cost of holding everything together for all these years. And here's the thing, you've done an incredible job surviving this way. You've built careers, raised families, supported others, and shown up again and again. But that survival strategy is no longer working. You can no longer carry the load. Not because your system is broken, but because your nervous system is maxed out. You have hit capacity. And the answer isn't to cope better, optimize more, or to force yourself to calm down. It's to shift the relationship you have with yourself, your body, and your own needs. But this isn't about fixing yourself. It's about listening to the part of you that's been carrying the load for all these years. And that part doesn't need more pressure. She needs more presence, more awareness, and the space to be heard and responded to. And that's where we go next, because you already know how to hold it all together and hold it all inside. But what you might not know yet is how to let your body fully exhale and be held, to be supported without bracing, to be able to move through life with more space, more breath, and less tension. But the first step is always awareness, not by forcing calm, but noticing when your body is bracing and gently reminding yourself that it's safe enough to soften. Because in the moments when it feels like there's no space to slow down, the real work begins with the pause. Not a performance of calm, but a real felt body check-in. Notice where your body has tightened before your mind even registers that there's stress. Take a breath that's slow enough for the nervous system to be able to register safety. Allow yourself a moment of orientation through your feet, your seat, and the rhythm of your breath. And see if your system can learn that it's not under immediate threat. But these aren't quick fixes. They're practices that help you build the skill of awareness, capacity, and resilience. It's awareness in motion. And over time, they can help your nervous system learn to soften and create a felt sense of safety rather than bracing all the time. And that's exactly what we're practicing inside of the Alignment Lab. It's a community space for women to reconnect to themselves, their bodies, and their own needs, not from a place of pressure or performance. I'll put a link in the description box below. Now, I'd love to hear from you if something in this video resonated. This pattern often goes unseen and misunderstood. And so many of the women that I work with don't even talk about it because they don't recognize or understand why they feel so exhausted and overwhelmed, and nothing seems to be working. Because this way of surviving was downloaded in childhood, and it still lives deep inside. So if you feel called to name your experience here, please know that you are not alone. We cannot heal what we do not notice, and we are beginning to notice right now. Take care of yourselves, everybody. I will catch you on the next one.